A tough battle. Extremely proud of our group for not quitting, which I certainly knew that was going to be the case. They would fight to the end. And, we'll regroup and see what we have for the NCAA tournament.
So we have the wireless mic again. Raise your hand if you have a question for Maddie, and Liam will walk the microphone over to you. We'll start over here with Doug in the front row.
Maddie, that first quarter, I mean, you guys were getting every offensive rebound. I think you had 25 shots in the quarter. Just the shots weren't falling. How much did that affect things? I mean, you were in it with them, but just couldn't get the basket to go in, or the ball to go in the basket, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough, but that shouldn't dictate the other side of the floor. I think we let it, and I definitely let it a little bit today. I thought we came out really, really hard, and, we were getting anything we wanted, and we didn't really take advantage like, we should have.
We'll go over here on the right in the second row as soon as we get the mic over.
Thanks. Stratton Stave, UConn Daily Campus. What about the UConn front court is so tough to deal with?
I mean, there's nobody you can help off of, They're five, top players in the country. So you got to guard everybody, and you're getting it one-on-one a little bit inside. And then, when you're playing with fouls, it's really tough.
So go here in the second row on the left.
In the last matchup with UConn, you guys got significantly out-rebounded on the board. Say you matched them 40-40. What was the biggest difference there, and what did you see just personally and as a team?
I mean, that was something, we emphasized that we had to do in this game. They kill everybody on the board, so, I couldn't be more proud of our team that we were able to, rebound well today.
Tim?
Maddie, obviously, you got to wait a little under a week or so to find out, where you'll be going. Hopefully you don't have to go anywhere, which obviously that's how it's supposed to happen. But, knowing that you got this bigger NCAA tournament and a Sweet 16 lining up potentially to clinch that at home, I mean, is this one of those things where you might not have it tonight, but you got bigger fish to fry next week?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's the biggest difference between where we are this year and when we were last year. Last year, we really didn't know. So, yeah, it makes you feel a little bit better. I mean, this is going to sting. It stings tonight. It'll sting tomorrow. And then, you got to move on, get ready for the next game.
All right, anything else for Maddie? All right. We'll let Maddie get back to the locker room. We'll reset here for questions for Coach. And if we can get the microphone back to Liam, raise your hand if you have a question for Coach. We'll get the microphone over to you. We'll start here in the front row with Doug again.
Hey, Denise, Doug Feinberg, DAP. A two-parter. You mentioned how the team didn't quit. I mean, you were down 25 and you cut it to almost single digits in the end there. Just how much does that help you guys going forward for the NCAA tournament, knowing that you didn't give up at that point? The other half is just this UConn team. I mean, they seem to have a different energy and level to them now that AZ's back.
Sure.
Do you see that? Just they seem more like a confident UConn team as opposed to the team you played before?
Yeah, on both. As I had complimented our group for sticking it out together until the end, and that's something this team has done from the start, and that's why I said they're an absolute joy to coach because they bring it every day. Their effort is there, and sometimes you can't make up for some other areas, and we did. We got shots today, but a lot of them rush shots, but again, not for lack of effort. So tough to see not go their way. They definitely have worked for these situations. And then to your point about AZ Fudd, absolutely, you know her level of her skill set is so high, her ability to play the game in many different spots, and it just gives them that dynamic score, gives them a deeper bench, with her and Deshawn back. So, getting back to full force.
Here in the front row on the left.
Yeah, Glenn Papazian, PhillyCollegeSports.com. And Denise, as you came out, it looked like the team came out very aggressive. You were getting contributions and from different players. Was it just the situations where the shots weren't falling that kind of turned things in the other direction?
Yeah, I think a little bit, the panic button gets hit a little earlier when shots aren't falling, and then you start second guessing yourself. On the defensive end, just being out of position, not talking as much, so not communicating, and them getting some looks But it definitely is us trying to create, we tried to create too many shots on our own instead of allowing, sharing the ball, making some plays within our system, as opposed to, just trying to force something because we may not have made the shot prior. Got to continue just to get that look, play after play.
We have 2 questions from the second row. We'll start on the outside and then move in a seat.
Owen Hewitt, the Villanovan. Your team is now 1-6 against ranked opponents.
Cool.
Does that worry you at all going into March as opponents are going to get tougher?
No, you just have to use it as a motivational factor. You see that they're aware, and just be battle tested, and just look to continue to improve each time you're out on the floor.
Right here.
Maddie alluded to it a little bit, just the difference in last year versus this year. Last year, you kind of were looked at as a bubble team leading up to Selection Sunday. This year, it's pretty clear you're going to be in and potentially host. Do you notice a difference in the mindset with the team? Like, do you notice that amongst you guys? Is there a difference in confidence level at all?
Oh, definitely, but it's a position they've put themselves in this year. We challenged them from the start with an incredibly, the out-of-conference schedule was tough, and they stepped up to those challenges. And then throughout the Big East, I think Big East was so strong this year. And for us to finish second in the position we were in and, just finding different ways to win, you can just see it in our younger players. You see Lucy Olsen, Christina Dossie out there, Zanai Jones got in there. The younger ones, they're just, this is what they expect, and there's nothing greater. So it's now our responsibility to continue, to find players like that who want to play Villanova basketball and just tough it out no matter what. So keep putting them in these positions.
Tim?
Coach, Maddie seemed to be really stifled in the first half, and despite all of that, she still keeps her streak of scoring 20-plus in every game this season. What does that say about the kind of competitor she is to, even despite being stifled by that stingy UConn defense, to do what she does best in putting the ball in the bucket?
Yeah, she does it better than most, scoring the ball. So it was, as you said, not quitting, not stopping, just finding different ways to score, just sheer determination because they didn't let up. It wasn't, we spaced it out a little bit more, so it was more the one-on-one coverage, and she just found spots and created a couple looks around the basket. But yeah, rebound, put back, she got fouled a few times there, but she knows how important it is for us to succeed. She's got to put points on the board, and she's done it consistently. But as we had said, going into this game, we needed everyone to contribute.
Anything else for Coach? All right, Coach,
Thank
we look
you.
forward to seeing Villanova's name on Selection Show.
All right, thanks.
Just long enough of a break to drive home. We start on Wednesday. You're not coming in on Wednesday? Oh. Don't I know it? One, two, 1, 2. 1 2 1 2. My twin. I know I shaved it off. We need the Spider-Man thing, Bobby. UConn's on its way. It's all right. Nobody listens to me. It's okay. We'll start with questions for the athletes. Again, Aaliyah is the tournament's most outstanding player. Dorka and Lou Lopez Seneschal are on the all-tournament team. JC has the microphone wireless, so we'll get it over to you. Again, questions for the athletes. Raise your hand. We'll get it over to you. We'll start right over here, front row with the AP. We'll pass the mic down.
Aaliyah, can you just describe what this means given what this team has been through this year and those thoughts that went through your head as the confetti was pouring down and you just reflected on this season?
I mean, it means a lot. We put a lot into practice and everything we went through this season, all the struggles, and to still kind of come out with the same outcome that we wanted to coming into the season is amazing, and it just speaks to the character in our team. But I know we speak a lot as players on how much we rely on one another, but we couldn't have done this without Coach and the rest of the coaching staff. You know, they really stuck with us, and even through the struggles and challenges, they believed in us, and they still were there when we took the L's, but they're even more there when we took the dubs, and it feels so much better to be celebrating a win with them.
We'll go front row, Tim.
For Aaliyah and Dorka in particular, Villanova had 10 offensive rebounds on you guys early in the game. What really changed in the rebounding mindset to, get even and then score the points in the paint that you did and just dominate in that area?
We'll start with Dorka first, then we'll go to Aaliyah.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of we took that personally in the beginning. We just kind of try to figure out, how to, help each other and also find out a way to box them out. And obviously in the beginning of the game, we were not very successful with that. So, I think that was an emphasis put on that we have to, get the defensive rebounds and box out. And I think, as the game went on, we took advantage of that and just kept pushing the ball and, get some easy post-ups and easy scores in the paints. But that's just a quick, switch of mindset and just be more physical and find a person to box out.
Yeah, everything that Dee mentioned, I think that, you know, we knew that they were going to go on a run and, you know, that happened, but we knew that we were going to bounce back and be able to converge off their turnovers or off our defensive stops.
We got Dom here in the front row, and then we'll move to the third row.
Yeah. Lee, I'll ask you because you've been here the longest, but when Coach said the things that he said last week, essentially that he didn't want to hear any more talk about fatigue or injuries or those things, that he wanted that discussion to kind of go away. How did the team take that? How did you respond to that? How did the team respond to that?
I think that we responded well, given what we did tonight. I think that we knew going into postseason it's going to be harder games. We were playing all the teams that we've matched up against the whole season. We just really had to lock in and come in with an aggressive mindset that we knew that we wanted to get the job done here so that we can move on into our next, you know, postseason win.
You're in the third row.
Lou, this was your first Big East tournament. What emotions were going through your head when the confetti fell, and then what does this championship mean to you?
It feels special, winning one conference championship last year and then in another conference this year, a year apart. It feels really special, doing with this group of girls here. They just, right from the beginning, we had a great chemistry, and they just included me really well in the team. And I think that all the hard work that we had and all the struggles and the challenges that we've been through during the whole year, it's just really rewarding, and it just feels special to do it with my teammates, the whole coaching staff, for my first and only year here, and I'm just really happy.
Right here in the same area, one seat over.
Yeah, dork of a third quarter that you guys were able to have, just coming out in the way you guys were playing offensively. Just what was that mindset coming out of a locker room, and then to see AZ knock down those 3-pointers there in that quarter? Just how good was that to see her get those to fall?
Yeah, I mean, I think just coming out of the locker room, we had that mindset of Villanova is a really good team. I mean, they showed that they can come back from being down a lot. So we just wanted to make sure that we come out really strong and just in the first few minutes get some easy buckets, get some stops. And I mean, it happened. I just felt like our flow was really good. And, I mean, we knew that if AZ misses a lot of shots in the first half, it's gonna go in the second half, and it was nice to see her, smile when that first shot go through, and after that, we know it's just gonna fall for her. But, it's good to have her back. I mean, she's just, even if obviously not scoring a lot of points, she's still putting a lot of, effect into our offense. Like you can't leave her open. It gives us spacing in the paint, getting a lot of paint points, and she's just always being involved. And I mean, and also in the defensive end, she's making a difference. So her and Carol, having them back has been amazing. Just having all 10 players is really special. I mean, and this is the perfect timing to, have our whole team back. So I'm excited to see how we're going forward.
Right here in the third row.
Every win you guys had this game, this goes to anyone who wants to answer, but you guys had all these wins in double-digit figures. How do you maintain this assertiveness heading into the NCAA tournament?
Who wants to take that one?
I think that those last 3 games kind of reflect on what team we can really be. And, I think the beginning of the year, that's the UConn that we were. And even though it was, last couple weeks were pretty rough for us, we still found a way to overcome all of that and, find a way to find a solution during this tournament. And I think that's the real team that we can be, and we're going to bring the same team during the NCAA tournament and having the same mindset.
We'll go all the way in the back here.
Dorka, as someone who works with Aaliyah every day in games and elsewhere, what kind of pride do you take in seeing what she's done this season and what she did the last 3 days here at this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we're super proud of her. I think the whole season, she's been carrying us, and I just remember, even last year when the tournament came, there are different. Aaliyah came out to play. I remember the last year's Big East tournament. She was just unstoppable, and I had no doubt that she's gonna be unstoppable again. And I mean, she's just playing like an All-American, and we are super happy to have her. And she's been our leader this whole season, and she's just keep going, man. And I think we're all really proud of her. And this is just the player who's she been, and obviously. It's just her confidence is out the roof, and that's just we're just so happy to see that. And I mean, she's a nightmare, on offense and defense, and she's been leading us the whole time.
Right here in the front.
Aaliyah, you did struggle a little bit personally in February. What was the weight of the season kind of getting to you and carrying the team for a while, and what happened? I mean, you have refocused now, and it seems like the dominant Aaliyah is back. Was there something that changed? Did you just need some time to regather yourself?
I just think that, with everything that was going on in the season, as a team, we were just going through different things, different bumps and bruises, but I just wasn't very consistent during that time period. But, I knew that I was going to get it back, and the kind of player I am, I know that I'm kind of resilient in that way, and my teammates, carried me and gave me the confidence, and, we're in March, so I knew that I had to step back up, and I think everyone's stepping up right now, and we're all producing, either that's offensively or defensively, and it shows that we can be a really great team when we want to be.
Okay, last question here for the athletes in the third row.
Aaliyah, just the way that you've been able to defend Maddie Sechrist all season long and other players throughout the year, where do you think you've grown the most in the defensive end, and how has that kind of factored into the great season you've had?
I think it's kudos to the coaching staff with the scouting reports. We really lock in, making sure that defensively we're disciplined. Maddie's a great player, so it was a tough assignment, but I knew that if I got beat, my teammates were here on the back end helping me out. So I think it was a great team effort. We've been able to stop a lot of great players throughout the season, so we just got to continue that so that we could produce offensively and be successful.
All right, ladies, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll take a minute here to reset. And again, raise your hand. JC will get the microphone over to you. All right, we'll start right here in the front row. Pass the microphone down.
Gino, with so many players missing time this year, can you just discuss what having Aaliyah there all year has meant to this team and what she meant during this tournament?
Yeah, she knocked out some of our guys, but she managed to stay in every game. And I think last year, she was one of the few players that I think played just about every game. So she's a durable kid, knock on wood, and when she's got it going and she's feeling it and the confidence level is high, like Dorka said, she's able to she's able to do pretty much whatever the game calls for. When she goes on those rebounding tears, it's like she gets everyone, and at both ends of the floor. And when she's attacking the basket and drawing fouls, and so there's an element that she brings that if you don't have that element, it's hard to win tournament championships. It's hard to win in the postseason.
Doug?
Hey, Gino. It seems like it's a strange year across the nation. I mean, South Carolina's undefeated, but they haven't been like the dominant team that you guys were when you won 4 in a row of running through everybody. They've had a rally at times, and everyone else seems to lose to a bunch of people. How open do you think the NCAA is going to be, whatever the bracket is revealed next Sunday, for teams to come out and potentially pull off more of these upsets we've been seeing?
Well, until somebody beats South Carolina, they're still undefeated, and they're still the favorite, as they should be. In terms of everyone else, it's really hard this year to pinpoint given some of the conference tournament outcomes, really hard to pinpoint who really is playing or has played, let's say, for the last 3 weeks. Like, you could say they're pretty much going to be a championship contender. So everybody's had their turn. Everybody's looked the part. Everybody's looked the other way, which is a great sign for the NCAA tournament, right? Which means that more teams are in the mix, as it should be. One of the things that the NCAA, the women's basketball tournament, has to catch up, which we are. Obviously, we're still very young. There has to be an uncertainty to the games. There has to be, like last year, Creighton, there has to be teams coming out that you don't want to play in the postseason. That, more upsets happen. Where you're seated maybe is important, but, whose bracket you're in, and you catch the wrong team at the wrong time. Years ago, that didn't matter as much because the favorites just kind of rolled through everybody. The talent has spread out a little bit more now, and I think this might be one of the more exciting NCAA tournaments, in recent years.
You're on the left, Dom.
Gino, I know this has been a difficult year for you in a lot of different ways. Can you just talk about the feeling you had on the floor dancing, I guess, with your grandkids and dancing around the confetti, and what I guess, relief and satisfaction? What was that like for you?
Yeah, remember we talked about the other day about how you want winning to be special here in Connecticut, like it is every place else, instead of, we have to win. And it's just, when you coach long enough, you describe coaching as there's misery and relief, And when you lose, it's misery, and when you win, it's relief, not even joy. But when it almost felt like a chapter had been closed. Like, I can just sit back now and really let everything like wash over you that you've been holding in. So many things have happened on and off the court this past season, personally, team-wise, everything. That to get to this point, you want to just close that book and now start a brand new one starting next Sunday. And that book ended the right way. It had a lot of acts, and it had a lot of tragedies, and it had a lot of ups and downs, it had a lot of stuff, but the book ended the right way. And now it's time for a new one. And that's always exciting. But these next 10 days, we got to go recruiting. We still got to do our jobs. We can't sit around and, stare at our trophies. But for the next couple of days, I think we're just going to take a deep breath and let it all come out.
We
We're
got
holding a lot in.
Sorry, Coach.
No, it's okay.
We got a question in the third row on the left, and then we'll come up to Mel.
Gino, what happened with Aubrey today? She started the second half, but then came out really quickly and didn't come back in.
Something happened in the first half, and her back started to spasm up. So she went in the locker room at halftime, tried to get some work done on it. And I thought, I don't want her sitting around, and it gets worse. So let's let her get out there and loosen up. And watching her go up and down the floor twice, I realized she wasn't going to be able to go. So, back spasms. And having had back surgery, I don't blame her. I mean, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Mel here in the front row on the left.
Mel.
You're segueing right into it. You've seen all the Villanova teams, even though it wasn't hands-on till the late 80s. They hit the top 10 for the first time today. Where is this team in the scheme of the programs? Because, you know, they've had a few great ones along the way.
I've always said, no disrespect to our players or any other players in the league, but when you have the best player on the floor, then you have a chance to win every game. Yeah, well, how do you know? Well, trust me, I've been there a lot. You know, when you have the best player on the floor, you're a hard team to beat. And there have been other really good Villanova teams, outstanding Villanova teams. But maybe since the Shelley Pennyfeather years, when she clearly was the most dominant player, there hasn't been anybody that can just single-handedly win a game for them. They've always had to do it, you know, as a team, and they did it exceptionally well. And I think Denise coaches this team brilliantly, and they play hard and they play with an edge, and there's a toughness about them. And I think they're going to be hard as hell to beat in the NCAA tournament. I don't care who they play, because I don't think if you haven't played them and you haven't seen that, you're in for a treat.
We have a question, third row on the left.
Gino, you talked a few months ago about learning to kind of relinquish what you can't control and focus on what you can. And I guess from a coaching perspective, how's that journey been the last few months? And is it easier said than done, or how would you describe where you are with that?
It comes and goes. You know, somebody said, you know, you should lean on your staff a little bit more, you know? And I go, they already do everything. You know, I have, you know, the easiest job probably of any head coach in the country because my staff is just unbelievably good. What I have to, you know, constantly be on the lookout for is wanting every game and every possession and every day to be like yesterday or like the first 3 quarters today. And that's just not possible. So, you know, you start to learn to take that. They were brilliant yesterday. And for 3 quarters, you know, we're up 25 with 3:25 left in the third quarter. We were magnificent. So if you're going to enjoy that, well, then you got to take the fourth quarter too and just laugh it off. And, you know, back in the day, I had a hard time doing that. Back in the day, meaning like last week. You know, after we lost the Xavier game. Did we lose the Xavier game? No, actually we won, but it felt like a loss. It felt like a loss. And Jamel's always reminded me, and CD's always reminding me of that. You know, you win a game, but you play lousy. You're unhappy because you keep projecting, you know, like, you know, this is unacceptable. We can't go on like this, la, 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 la. And, you know, don't go in the locker room and make this feel like a loss. You know, save that for tomorrow. And I've gotten much, much better at that.
Coach, thanks very much. We look forward to seeing the next act.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Did you draw this, by the way? Is that you?
No, these guys.